Hello, my name is Tommy Hale, and I'm with Module 23, Group A, and I'm here to talk about military technologies. And I'm going to cover the introduction and different types of military technologies. So, what I'm going to do for each military technology is talk about more of the archaic beginnings, such as medieval periods, and work my way up to now. So, for an introduction, what is military technology? Military technology is pretty much any item or object used for warfare. Now, this can range from weapons, equipment, structures, and vehicles. Now, we've categorized the military technologies into 5 different types: offensive, defensive, transportation, communication, and sensors. Now, offensive military technologies. Starting off way back, used rocks, swords during the medieval periods, bows, trebuchets, and eventually evolved to basic guns and cannons, and finally to now, where we use automatic weapons, snipers, machine guns, anti-tank weapons such as grenade launchers and rocket launchers and knives, and offensive military technologies. There are a few that kind of overlap, like rockets, kind of combine sensors in offensive, tanks, transportation, and offensive. Um, yeah, there's mines, which is defensive and offensive at the same time. So there's really offensive kind of overlaps with many different types of military technologies. Defensive military technologies. Way back in the medieval days, you had your castles, your great walls, and that's pretty much it. But nowadays, we don't really have large walls. We did implement trenches during World War II and such. That didn't end very well. And nowadays, we usually have bases with to have soldiers, weaponry, launch attacks from, and, use it for many different types of purposes. And that's pretty much it. Now, for transportation military technologies, mainly horses in the medieval period, carts, wagons, etc., but has slowly evolved to actual vehicles, aircraft, and we even have warships now. Vehicles like tanks, armored vehicles, many different types of armored vehicles, each used for different purposes. But mainly transportation is for the transportation of people, items, food, etc. Now, aircraft, gunships, helicopters, and warships have submarines, aircraft carriers, and there's a whole lot of more I could go on about. Now for communications. Now, way back when we used mainly letters and such, maybe flag signals, eventually evolved to Morse code, wires, and now we have radio, satellite navigation, military microphones, phones. We have a wide array of many different communication technologies. Some we use, some they use, but some things they use even now is military hand and arm signals for, raids, infiltrations, whenever they want to be quiet and off the comms. And finally, we have sensors. Now, sensors is used for navigation, detecting other things such as submarines, looking for other submarines, aircraft, trying to see if they have anything, and even used for laser and missile guidance to guide weapons to the correct target. Now, those are the five basic military technologies, and right now they're considering adding a sixth one, which is cyberspace. Now, cyberspace would be a huge game changer. I mean, it already is, and now they're thinking of finally adding it to the big five. So that is my introduction to military technologies. Thank you, and I will pass it over to my partner now.
Hi, my name is Dave Vicario, and today I'll be talking about my topic of benefits of modern military technologies, and they benefit military transportation, communication, warfare, soldiers, and overall make the U.S. safer. Military transportation. Technology is improving transportation from the ground up, and there's now inexpensive autonomous warships that can patrol the ocean for 2 to 3 months. And on those warships, there's also tanks that are equipped with uh, specialized cameras that are linked to soldiers' combat helmets that allows them to view 360 degrees with optical and thermal systems without exposing them to risks. And there's also fighter jets equipped with laser pods that are being developed. And technology is only going to improve the forms of transportation as technology evolves and improves. Improved communication. Military communication systems are better than they have ever been. Drones are used to monitor enemies, so they're like the eyes and ears for the military right now. So, and there's also DARPA's sharing program. This uses technology to that allows for the processing and sharing of information at multiple levels of security, classifications, and on a single handheld device. So this is important for like the military. They need a lot of security, and having it on a single handheld device is very efficient. There's also microchip technologies, which technology is used to pack in data processing power of multi-computer neural networks in a handheld device as well, and that makes for missions on the battlefield safer or run more smoothly. So those technologies help improve communication in military and will also improve as technology does. Warfare. This increasingly high-tech warfare will save lives and with fewer casualties and reduce the number of soldiers in the battlefield. So technology is a primary source of military innovation throughout history, and it it drives change in warfare more than any other factor. So technology defines warfare basically, and drones are also used as a safer form of war. And a military statistic from Brookings Institute reveals that there were 334,000 fewer American troops in war zones just 1 year after increasing armed drone use. And the US casualties decreased by 40%, proving that drone strikes are a viable tactic in keeping Americans safe, which is the fundamental duty of the defense system. So these drones are being improved to be more accurate and are used more instead of soldiers, which helps to improve the form of warfare. And there's also it benefits the soldiers. It creates better soldiers. Soldiers trained with new forms of technology, which in the end make them uh, a more improved soldier. The U.S. Armed Expendatory War Experiment Program and tech company M-Lock Inc. are transforming every soldier into a sharpshooter. So they use technology to improve their accuracy when shooting. In the end, making them a, a better soldier and having them more be prepared for combat. And soldiers can now remain underwater longer with a new military breathing device, which helps them improve also in the battlefield if they need to be underwater for longer. It just makes them a better soldier overall. Uh, Technology helps soldiers improve. It also makes the United States safer. Our defense technology investment allows us to counter military threats. So these technologies make us safer and also allows us to defend ourselves from any threats to the United States. The technology also helps fight against terrorism. So all this new technology, uh, we can combat terrorism, and especially like after 9/11, there has been great changes in our airports to make sure nothing like that happens again. They use different forms of technology to make air flights more safe. And technology not only protects the U.S., but it also helps maintain peace and security. So in a form like if we uses technology to protect ourselves, and we could also protect or and create peace with other countries that will have like peace and stability overall. And this is why we're excited. And thank you for listening. And I hope you learned something about the benefits of modern military technologies. Thank you.